Welcome back, Rambler fans. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker. It's going to be a good one. I can feel it. I'm Nader Issa.
And I'm Alison Krakowiak. You'll have to excuse Nader's bad attitude. They made us change out of our pajamas before the show, and, well, Nader's still a little bit salty about it.
All right, for those of you who don't know, today's National Wear Your Pajamas to Work Day. But we had to change out of our pajamas, obviously, because, professionalism.
But I think it's a time to put our saltiness aside. Don't you think, Nader?
True. But first, it's National High Five Day today, too, so we can celebrate that.
Yeah, we can.
But yeah, the show must go on.
That's right. Just like Loyola's women's basketball program must go on after 5 players left the team at the end of this season. A total of 8 players will not be returning to the women's basketball team this year, but only 3 of those players are graduating. The other 5 are leaving for different reasons. This means head coach Cheryl Swoops will only be welcoming back 6 of her current players. One player, freshman Courtney Williams, credited her leave to off-the-court reasons. Other players not returning next season are freshman Destiny Washington, who is committed to Ball State University, and Simone Law, who will be playing her 5th year of eligibility at U of I. Sophomores Tiana Karopoulos and Bailey Farley will also not be returning next season.
Man, that's a lot of players moving on to new things. I wonder if some of them are putting up any of their houses or apartments for sale, maybe? I hear athlete cribs are pretty tight. Let's go to Leia Bacuyag for more.
Welcome to our first ever LUC Cribs. Here, just 3 blocks north of Loyola's Lakeshore campus, 3 track and field runners live in the 2nd floor of this apartment. Ali Spearoff let us in to see how they're living.
What's up, LUC Cribs? Welcome to my home. This is what we like to call the Beat Lab. My roommate's one of her brothers made that name up for it, and we felt it was really fitting because we also like to play really loud music on these speakers up here all the time. So this is our fireplace. Doesn't actually work. This is our huge TV. In here is my labyrinth because this is where my desk is. This is where all the magic happens. In here we have the most comfortable couch in the whole world. Oh, this couch. Joe Miro artwork because we have to have it. We obviously rep NCAA cross country in this house. This poster which just embodies our whole house. Mi casa, su casa, which means my house is your house in Spanish. Clearly no boys are allowed, but we make exceptions on occasion. Here is the dining room. Jay-Z and Beyonce, of course, because we have to. Then you come in here and you have the kitchen. Well, we like to eat a lot. We are athletes and we are runners, so we eat a lot of food. We have a wide variety of food going on in here right now, just miscellaneous. We have a motivational quote board. Lil Wayne is the quote now. How perfect is that? This is my room. It may be small, but it's the best room in this place. This is the wall of fame over here. It's like pretty much all of the best people in the world. Neymar, Greta Waite's one of my favorite women's distance runners. Oh, we got a whole wall dedicated to Miley. Beyonce, Queen of England, Reese Witherspoon, Kendrick Lamar. Down here, you have the bonfire pit. And our team is very talented musically, so they bring over their guitars and we play songs and roast s'mores and stuff, and it's awesome.
That's all for LUC Cribs. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Leia Bacuyag.
Thanks, Allie, for letting us into your space. I think it's actually really nice to throw it back to the good old MTV Cribs days,
I don't know, I still like LUC Cribs better than MTV Cribs. Moving from the old to the new, Loyola's men's soccer team is welcoming another international player to its roster. The team's head coach Neil Jones announced the signing of German Fabian Lifka to a national letter of intent on Thursday. Lifka is part of the Ramblers' 2015 recruiting class, meaning the 5'9" midfielder will be making his way to Rogers Park next fall. Lifka joins a large 9-player 2015 recruiting class for the team, which is coming off its first winning season since 2008. You know, I know we already tried to move on from the whole pajama thing, but I really want to wear my pajamas.
Let me tell you something, guys. Sometimes I think hitting people is actually a good outlet for stress.
You know, that's not good. You need to discipline yourself. You should look into the Kendo Club.
Kendo? Like samurai fighting?
Yeah, let's catch up with Leia Bacuyag to see what the Kendo Club is all about.
If you look for the source of the battle cries echoing from the Rambler room on Thursday evenings, you'll find the Loyola Kendo Club.
Kendo literally means the way of the sword. Practically speaking, it is the practice of Japanese fencing.
Kendo Club was founded a year before I came here, so I would say about 2011, and it was founded to spread the martial art of Kendo and appreciation for Japanese culture.
3 years ago, a Rambler interested in Kendo approached Sensei Takeda to open a dojo at Loyola. Since then, the dojo has been open every Monday and Thursday.
I think the real important thing is to really ingrain in them the fundamentals and the basics. So that includes the ki, or war cry. I do a lot with posture, footwork, and then the actual techniques of the actual swing. Motto here is kind of a train the brain, right? And then it's to build lasting relationships, and then to really come out with a good fundamental grounding in the basics and fundamentals of Kendo.
Kendo has really given me, I'm sorry if this sounds cliche, but a sense of serenity. Each strike has to be right on so many levels. There's only so far you can get it right before you have to start from the beginning, and that's really helped me come to terms with what I define as success and failure in my day-to-day life.
It helps your ability to focus, and I need to use that constantly, obviously, as a student, because with lecture and homework and all of that, it definitely helps. Like, after practice, it's a lot easier to focus on anything.
I think that Kendo's taught me to be a lot more organized. Like, for example, let's say I have a lot of things that I need to do, instead of just trying to do them all at once. Just like in Kendo, when you're striking, you don't just try to do them all at once. You go 1, 1, 1. So when I can, I try to apply that to my everyday life. So when I have multiple things to do, I try to do them one at a time, for instance, so that I stay more organized.
Okay, all the way down, twice through, then you're going to rotate.
Kendo is very strong on discipline, right? So part of the idea is you come to practice even if you don't feel like it. Every time you're done with practice, you're always glad you came. If you're going to be successful in anything, you have to do the hard work in order to get better at something. So it's always nice to improve in skill, but you have to discipline yourself to do the daily activities that get you better.
Although discipline is stressed within the Kendo Club, the members also thrive on their strong sense of community.
A lot of varied interests, but overall just very nice, very talented people.
Despite the competitive nature, it's still just one big community at the end of the day. Everybody gets along. We're all friends.
Sensei Takeda hopes to have the Kendo Club participate in tournaments by the end of fall next year. From the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Leia Bacuyag.
If you ever want to get your samurai on, you can join the Kendo Club on Thursdays from 7 to 9 in the Rambler room.
USA men's volleyball team released its preliminary roster for the 2015 FIVB World League on Tuesday. Loyola's men's volleyball outside hitter junior Thomas Jeske was one of 3 collegiate athletes selected for the list. Other college volley stars to make the list are Penn State's Aaron Russell and USC's Mika Christensen. The FIVB World League is an annual volleyball competition where the top men's national volleyball teams from all around the world come together to compete in 6 weekends of pool play in hopes of qualifying for the final round, which will be held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil this year, acting as a test event for the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. The defending World League champion U.S. men begin World League pool play against Iran on May 30th to the 31st in Los Angeles.
It's springtime, which means some fans get to break out their favorite baseball jerseys. But almost 100 years ago, fans couldn't commemorate their favorite baseball players. Over to Blake Keller, who takes us back in time.
Nowadays, it's tradition for a team to wear numbers on their jerseys, but this wasn't always the case. In honor of baseball season, let's travel back in time to opening day for the 1929 baseball season. New York Yankees and the Cleveland WINdians competed with numbers during their opening day games. Other teams have previously experimented with numbers, the Indians in 1916 and the Cardinals in 1923, but the reaction was negative. Most people saw the players as jail convicts. Thanks to the Yankees and Indians, a tradition was born, and by 1931, every baseball team had numbers incorporated on their jerseys. The New York Yankees made the tradition famous, even though the first 2 games against the Red Sox were rained out. The Indians technically wore the numbers on the field first, going on to defeat the Detroit Tigers 5-4 in extra innings. Numbers weren't picked randomly. The Yankees had a system to assign players numbers. The 8 position players were given numbers according to their batting lineup. As you can see, leadoff hitter Earl Combs received number 1, and Mark Koenig was assigned to number 2. Babe Ruth had number 3, and so on and so forth. The 3 catchers received numbers 8, 9, and 10, and the pitchers were given every number after that, except number 13, which was deemed unlucky. As time passed, players were given the opportunity to choose their own numbers, and some of them have gone on to be recognized as iconic numbers. For a while, numbers were passed down to other players, but retiring a number has become one of the greatest gestures in the sports franchise. For example, Lou Gehrig was the only number 4 to play for the New York Yankees and was the first professional athlete to receive this type of honor. For This Week in History, I'm Blake Keller, and play ball.
Thanks, Blake. It's obvious that baseball season is back and in full swing.
Today on the Ramble, our contestants are slugging it out to see which team they think is truly a contender. Hey y'all, and welcome to this week's Weekly Ramble. I'm your host, Milap Mehta, and I'm joined by our 2 contestants. We have the defending champion, Molly Brewer, and the challenger, Trisha McCulley. This is a rematch from a few weeks ago, if you all remember. And we are going to get started with the Ramble. In case you're wondering about this thing right here, so there's this dude who was flipping me off, so I sucker punched him right in the jaw. And then, ironically, I ended up breaking my middle finger. So it all came full circle. And you know who gets stupid injuries? Baseball players. They get hurt all the time doing the most random things. So we're going to talk about some baseball. Now, we're only about a week and a half into the season, but we're already seeing some teams rise above the challenge. So Molly, which team do you right now think is the biggest contender?
Well, I might have a little bit of personal bias, but I'm going to have to go with the Cleveland WINdians. Now, okay. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that kind of dispute the fact that the Cleveland sports are just incredible, but they are not called the Cleveland WINdians for nothing. So that's my take.
Good point. Good point. Anything else you want to add about the actual team, or?
I would also like to add that they were listed as most trendy team to follow this year, although they had a little bit of a dull winter. They were coming up pretty strong last season, so I think they're going to kick it into full gear, and it's not like anyone else is that great yet. So.
Okay. Trisha, what do you got?
All right, well, I picked the Detroit Tigers. They are currently 8-1 and first in their division. And whatever. They just have great pitching overall, starters and closers. Bryce, opening day, was phenomenal. Even with JV out, we got new guys, Simon and Green. We got a killer defense with Kinsler and Iglesias in the infield. We also got a powerhouse offensive lineup with Cabrera and Cespedes. And I think we got all the aspects covered, and I think we can only get better. And right now, I think we are the best team in baseball.
All right, but Jonas, what's his OPS? Like 700 something? He's a little overrated, don't you think? We'll see. Well, Molly, I understand they are called the WINdians, but right now the WINdians have more losses than wins. So why are they our, top contender when they're 3-5?
I think that there's a lot more that goes into a potential season than the few weeks that have already happened. I think looking back at their stats from last season, they were up. So I'd have to say they won 92 of last year's games, and that's a lot better than in the past. So I think they can only keep improving. And as far as, statistics go, I don't know. Their offense and their defense, it's not the top of the notch, but there's their pitching skills this year are they're out of the field, literally. So.
All right. And Trisha, you picked the Tigers, who are doing really well right now, but they don't have the starting pitching depth, especially now with Verlander down 2, and they lost Scherzer in the offseason of a team like the Dodgers, who also have an equally potent offense. So how can we pick them as like the top contender when you got other better teams?
Well, we've shown, I think, so far in this week and a half of the season, with Bryce and Simon and Green, they have brought the wins for us. We only have one loss this season, and I just think with the backing of our defense and the strong hit sluggers of our offense, we just all around got all the aspects covered, and no matter what everyone else has. So
I might just give you the win right now if you can tell me who was the starting pitcher during that loss.
The loss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, she missed her chance to sweep right there. It's Annabelle the Cannibal Sanchez. All right, now you two are getting a chance to rebut each other. Molly, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I think aside from statistics, which I get it, they're important in baseball, but let's be honest.
And wins are important too.
Wins are also important, but the Cleveland WINdians have such a strong fan base that I think that they're unstoppable. The Detroit Tigers, very few teams have booed their own team. That's pretty embarrassing if you ask me. Win or lose, the Indians are there to eat and drink and have a good time. And so I think that makes a winning team on its own.
There we go. Yes, everyone does hate the Tigers. Trisha, what do you got?
Okay, well, I don't. And I'm just going to point out that we did just sweep the Indians this past weekend in a 3-game series on their home field. Ooh. So I just think that gives us the edge over them at least.
But you have been
and I feel you guys are off to a rough start, and you guys are going to need a lot of work to get back into the season.
Win or lose, WINdians.
Yeah. Wow, this is a tough pick right here. I mean, we've got Molly, who brought in, the nickname right from the beginning and has been playing that. And then we've got Trisha, whose team is actually good. So that's a tough challenge. As much as I, feel for Cleveland and love Detroit, or hate Detroit, or at least the Tigers, not Detroit. I'm gonna give this one to you just because you picked a team that's winning. I think that technically had to happen. So yeah, that was it. Now back to y'all at the desk.
Man, I hate that Tigers pick.
You really think the Indians are a better pick?
Well, I am from Cleveland, so I'm all about those WINdians. But no, I just thought I'd join in with Milat because, everyone's always hating on him, but, now he has a broken finger, so.
Sorry to interrupt you. We have a breaking news story coming into the desk. Thursday morning, a wild animal made its way onto Loyola's Lakeshore campus and blocked the parking garage before campus safety officers tranquilized it.
Nader, what are you talking about?
All right, well, it wasn't a wild animal and nothing was tranquilized, but a golf cart went spiraling out of control.
Wow, that's totes cray.
See, I told you. You know what else is cray? Our fire tweets and Instagram posts, so you should check us out on all of the handles you see below. I'm Nader Issa.
And I'm Alison Krakowiak. Thanks for tuning in to The Locker.
And as always,
don't forget to turn out the lights.